folks, Dave here, and welcome back to my Let's Build project here in Fallout 4 at Abernathy Farms. As you guys can see, this is going to be my almost medieval castle-themed farming settlement, and right there on the left, it's going to have some vertical elements as well. I'm going to start things off this week by giving a shout out to YouTube commenter The Kitsune. He gave me a link to a mod over on the Nexus that takes care of some of those awkward collision problems that were blocking me from being able to build up the inside of that power pylon. A little bit wonky to get it working, but with some on-and-eye edits, I am now good to go. And this week, we're going to be building on that tower right there. Before we dive into the building today, I want to give a shout out to my Patreon backers. Because I do YouTube as a part-time thing in my spare time, these are the folks that help keep the channel afloat with some direct support over on the Patreon page. They also get exclusive access to things like behind-the-scenes newsletters and early access to content. So big thanks, as always, to all of you for your support of my work here on the channel. Go ahead and get out of free cam here. Head down some of these ramps that we built last time. Really excited to go back and start building some of the housing along the walls too, because we're going to have that, again, medieval styled housing along the inside of those main walls. But I'll show you guys what I've been building now that the overall tower is unlocked. I'm planning on lots of the cooking and living quarters being down here in this really awesome looking lower part of the pylon. So the upper parts are going to be a lot of the sleeping quarters. Additionally, I want to show how this settlement has progressed. I love having, that was an awkward staircase climb. I love having a visible time period where you can see, okay, this settlement started out scrappier, and as time went on, it got a bit more organized and a bit more carefully built. So the lower parts here inside of the pylon are going to be the scrappier bits, and as we get higher, it's going to have better and better carpentry and more careful designs to it. This part right here, this rooftop section, is really just a, I guess you could call it an open air patio. It's got some protective walls, but for the most part, it's really just a lookout area. You can see we got that excellent view. This is part of the original settlement right here. But then right here, I've been building this staircase section with some support pylons as well, along with this reclaimed lighthouse staircase. That's going to take us up to the next floor, which I've basically laid out in its entirety already. So we'll go up that spiral staircase. You can see we have some cinder blocks here. That makes up the base for the elevator, which goes up to the next floor that you really can't see from this part. This is really just a lot of hallway sections with that elevator at its core. Again though, I want the idea that this has been built onto a couple of times over the years as the settlement has been improved. So probably at some point this floor was entirely sleeping quarters, very, very scrappy sleeping quarters, but now the middle has been given over to the elevator instead. And I'm planning on this rather overgrown corner room being used as the second floor bathroom. It does have a protective wall there, but kind of overgrown, and also lots of holes in that wall. And this is the powered elevator, which is going to take us up to where we're going to be focusing most of today's building. And that's going to be the third floor. Well, for some reason the elevator has glitched and the buttons are invisible, but I found the hotspot for floor 3 right there, so whatever. As you guys can see there, I'll go into free cam, make it a bit more clear. I've also added some protective walls to the lower part of the elevator as you rise up from that large second floor. That'll just give you some protection so that you're not totally exposed. But up here on this next tier of the pylon is where I want to do some building today, and possibly the next one as well. Let's go ahead and get right into workshop mode. So again guys, I want this first floor that we're going to work on up here to show signs that the Minutemen were getting more established by the time that they were building this high. To do that, we're going to use a mix of parts, starting with, it's a little too high up in the air for cinder block, I think. We're going to have some of those scrappy pieces for sure. So let's go ahead and place a couple of those. And I want to use perhaps some of the stain structures, more well-designed walls. Just not going to snap, even with snapping turned on because of the collision with the power pylon. So we'll just place it by hand. Again, thank you, place everywhere. Okay, so we have an outline here for our junky walls. Let's go ahead and go over to stain structures. Was that under structures, or did it have its own menu? It must be under structures. Yep, there it is. And these we can actually add some windows to, so let's leave some room for those. Do a window there. This is probably most definitely high enough for a window. And we're just going to use this metal corner piece as the end to the wall. And we got one more piece over here. We can fit a window on that one as well. So yeah, guys, we're going to have just the beginnings up here of those more carefully designed areas. With that comes nicer facades. And we'll use a slightly scrappier one for that piece. What do we have for metal? I'll put some sheet metal on the inside of that just to help seal it up for wind purposes. This would not be a windproof building by any stretch of the imagination, but that was going to be a lot of air gaps there. And we'll probably use, for the most part, glass, I think, for this. Gotta put our frames in first. Let's go ahead and just do that. I think it's 2 of the square frames. So we'll do 1 wire mesh, then glass, and glass on this one as well. Yeah, I like that. It's a mix of the very scrappy and just slightly better engineered. Now I gotta figure out which way are my rooftops and stairs going to come together, because we're going to have some stairs here. Let's go over to our wooden stairs and see how this is gonna fit. Although we do have those much steeper stairs as well. The ones that are under the scaffolding, I think. These might not be steep enough. What kind of snapping is that? Whew! Got some serious altitude here, guys. Yeah, I think with all these cross beams, we're going to want to look at those more narrow and more steep staircases. Yeah, these right here. They'll just be easier to work with. So let's just say we have this one set up like that. Okay, it's going to require a lot more maneuvering than that. Yeah, we're at an awkward height here. Turning and snapping off briefly. Let's get this piece of walkway over here like this, and just see what we can work with to get a couple of pieces over here like this. Okay, that works out pretty well. Just worried about being able to actually seal this living quarters up, because this is supposed to be a living quarters. But I want to go ahead and figure out the staircase first. Up to that next, probably pylon right there. This is going to require a lot of custom fitting, but it could look pretty neat. This section is going to have a bit of a double rooftop, so we'll put a small hole in that piece just for visual interest, although we can't have those braces right there. They'll clip into the elevator too much. Won't look good, I think. Some more corner pieces here. And one last corner piece on this side. Let's check out what that gets us. Well, the rooftop is looking quite good. We can probably cap it off too. Okay, so that works, but we still have this giant gap. So this is where we got to get creative, guys. How can we seal this gap up while still allowing access to the stairs? While we're here in the barn section, I wonder if we did this and we essentially make our own enclosed staircase using some of this barn wood. How would that look? Oh, we do have that piece. And it does snap vertically as well. That's cool. Let's try something with this one. I'm going to keep checking on how this looks in free cam. Don't want it to start looking too ridiculous. I'm not a real big fan of how that's looking right now. Downside of live experimentation, guys. Also, that overhang is pretty extreme compared to the other side. Well, let's do this first. To help balance the lopsidedness, there we go. By clipping those together, we can kind of make our own corner piece there. See if that brings some balance to the structure. Oh yeah. Now that's kind of cool how it's even on this side essentially with the pylon, but hanging over on this side. And I'll probably add some struts or other supports on top of this rooftop right here to connect it with the barn roof. So yeah, I think the barn roof does work there. What I think is really not working though is this piece right here. So we're going to work around that. With that piece removed, let's look at wooden floors again briefly. Find a replacement floor for on top of the elevator here. Do have some of these wooden spiral staircases as well. Almost forgot about those. Come on. Fine. I will place you manually. So continuing this awkwardly constructed stairwell here. Will that snap like that? Yes, it will. Just going to try a couple of things like this, guys, and we'll see how it looks once we put some stairs in. So you would march up like that. Staircase or rooftop piece there. Perhaps just the one? How do we seal up a gap that size? We're working with some very awkward shapes here now. This thing is starting to look almost like a grain elevator or something. So yeah, we need some kind of rooftop to just run down this little tiny gap right here. So an awkward loft piece, a roof platform. But it could possibly work. Again, we're just really spitballing at this point. So much of this is not even wanting to snap. Oh, that's cool. That's where the roof platform is supposed to go. I've never actually seen where that's supposed to snap. Here, let's add a second one there. Be a lookout platform for this altitude. That's cool. So if you're this high up, I guess there really wouldn't be any kind of doorway right here. This is just the narrow path that you take in the open air, and that does look pretty cool from down below. We're avoiding those boxy, snapped shapes and working around the pylon. Although we do need, for pathfinding purposes, a little staircase right here, so you don't have to jump with your character to get up. Just clip it awkwardly a bit like this for the moment. There we go. Okay, so going back to that barn subsection, what do we have for stairs for the barn? Looking at G2M, they have some almost spiral style staircases here. There we go. Now we're talking. Move that back a little bit. And we're almost at the level that I wanted to see our next floor. That looks very, very unusual, but starting to look less rusty and scrappy. I do like that almost elevator look, grain elevator look to those slanted pieces. I think that works. I was really unsure, guys. I was like, oh man, I'm going to build this for 15 minutes and then scrap it all and just take it out of the video. But I actually like where this is going. Now, I could post this and you guys could tell me that I'm nuts and it looks terrible, but onward. Let's see what else I can do up here. Again, this level where we are now is going to be where things are the most modern construction. So the Minutemen are well established at this point. They've got some carpenters, and we're gonna make this look good. Nope, I did not measure that correctly at all. That's okay, I like a challenge. We'll deal with these awkward shapes. Oh boy, yeah, we have created a fun situation for ourselves here. Make sure nothing is floating down here. That is a tight passageway. But again, guys, we're avoiding those box snaps for the most part and making some really unique looking pieces here. For the upper section, I'm going to go to the very, very end of my wood walls where I think it was Homemaker added these right here. How's that for some non-scrappiness for you guys? This is going to be the peak both of the tower and of living here at Abernathy Farm. The question is going to be, do we have enough pieces to make it look right? Let's see. Do a few of these. Oh, that one is going to extend awkwardly that side. Do it there instead. So to fill in the gaps, let's look over here at CVC building. Yeah, some of these nicer, at least more well-constructed wood pieces I'm going to add through here like this as dividing walls. That one clips through a bit, oddly. I'm not sure what that's for. It's got that lower section to it. Interesting. Yeah, I'm liking the gaps that I'm putting into the floors. Really gives it a lot of visual interest to not just have the entire thing one giant monolithic construction. Alright, gang, I really like where this is going, but I want to tweak a couple of things, which is going to require some back and forth in the build menu and a couple of experiments. So, I'm going to jump ahead in time from right here once I figure a couple of things out. Stand by, let's do some time traveling. And here we go, guys. As you can see, this is starting to look like quite a construction zone, and a pretty legit one with us putting up the studs here first. I think I've got a pretty solid plan for this top story. Let me go into free cam and show you guys how it's looking. I've added some scrappy bits to the outside to help break up some of the more boxy silhouettes, and that support right there is going to connect up to the bottom of that piece. Added some supports right there, and as you guys can see, I've put a deck level all the way around our stairwell level right there. I've also set up all of our interior rooms and even some, not studs, rafters across the top right there. Should give it a really, really realistic look here. But I wanted to give you guys the fly around here with what I've been tinkering with for, oh man, about the last 30 minutes, so glad I skipped ahead before I put the roof on. And I'll show you guys real quick before I go into workshop mode. I've added some extra platforms here. This needs a support to lead to this doorway right here. And I'm setting this up as this corner back here is going to be a little bathroom facility for the top floor. We're going to have, I think, 3 tenants on the very top. Probably the Abernathys themselves. They would have earned this top level suite for their service to the Minutemen. Some of you guys pointed out in the comments last time that seeing they would have joined very early on in General Dave's career, they would be running a very lucrative operation here at this point. So yeah, we'll assume that most of this upper level is going to belong to the Abernathys themselves. They're going to have a suite here, a bedroom suite here, and one here as well. We'll have storage beyond the pylons here at the outer walls. And maybe like a little outer lounge or living room right here. And again, that bathroom right there. Duck downstairs for a second. Got this very, very narrow walkway to get up here. But hey, it works. Gonna have to put a railing right there, though. Double check. We can get to the elevator, right? Yes, okay. Haven't blocked that off by accident. This lower section is going to be more like a bunkhouse quarters. Comfortable and safe, but a bit more crowded. And then, of course, their suite up top. And even got some stairs right there. This is kind of the patio deck. I'll have a couple of guards up here, but for the most part, you're so high up that you're really just looking for far-off threats before they get close to the outer walls. For example, that Deathclaw right there, which is way too close to my massive sanctuary build for comfort. Can he even figure out how to get to me? So far away. I think I'm actually leading him towards Sanctuary by accident. Okay, down he goes. Still one of my favorite guns in the game. Moving on, this deck has been extended all the way around. Got some planters and probably very annoying wind chimes, seeing we're up so high. Massive planter right there. And your nice lounge chair. Taking a look over the farm / castle down below. And you guys know me, you've got to have occasional planks and whatnot to add to the detail. Let me go ahead and just go to workshop mode, and we'll get this support right here where it belongs before we add on our rooftop. And then I think we're going to decorate just one room of the upper suite. And then I think we're going to decorate just one room up top before we call it a day, because we've been decorating, we've been building so much today. A lot of verticality, but really happy with how it's coming together. Very, very unique building shape here. Back in workshop mode, let's resize this sucker, get it into place. Just attach it to the side of the pylon right there, and I think that's going to look pretty good. It is kind of floating a little bit on that side, but we can just bring it in, let's see, just a couple of units, and I think that should do it right there. Yeah. That's, well, it could go over a couple more if I want that piece right there to connect. Yeah, we'll do that, and that should add that nice looking support there for the end. Okay. Let's head on upstairs. We're going to go to Stain's structures one more time, because there's a wall that's missing for the bathroom that I was talking about. It's going to be a very, very narrow bathroom. I'm thinking toilet on one end, bathtub in the other, sink maybe out in the living quarters, perhaps. But the doorway is going to be tough. I think we're going to have some kind of special sliding door, perhaps. Or maybe one of those closet doors from Sanctuary that opens, just folds open to make it work right. Also kind of an awkward length right here. A full wall piece. Yeah, it's going to clip way outside. So what I'll do is I'll do that and then bring it back inside manually. We'll just stagger those walls to make them work. We're starting to get to the point where we're working with really constricted space up here. We'll go with just a simple wooden facade for most of this interior space. Like like that. I'll put these walls on the inside. Maybe? Oh, okay, we have several different pieces right here as well, it looks like. I didn't realize that. Yeah, so wall section on the inside. Surface snap off, come on. Snap. Alright, maybe wall section on the outside. There we have it. That's looking good. Whenever possible, I try and just do the one facade layer, because having the actual studs inside adds a lot of detail, but a lot of extra polygons for the game to have to render as well. There we go. And then another doorway right here. I will put a couple of these on both sides for the interior spaces. Yeah, guys, that's coming together. We're limited to that circular layout due to the central staircase idea. But I wonder if I could take, instead of having this door right here, and have a door from this landing over to right there. That's going to have to wait for a different day. I'm not going to start tearing things out already. We've still got a lot to add on here. Alright, rooftop. That's going to be an interesting question. I wanted to look at the warehouse rooftops here. Yeah. It's not the tin of the barns, but I think it will look good because, again, this is supposed to be that well-engineered floor, at least compared to the ones below it. And we have some different rooftop platforms here as well. Ooh, we could put a skylight. This glass looks like it could have been pretty readily repurposed. I don't think it looks like it's brand new. And that could be a really cool feature for that central staircase. If we do it like that, and then manually reposition, I'll use the pylon for a centering reference there because our quote-unquote central staircase and a few other pieces have gotten off-center as we've climbed up the pylons. We've just been playing things by ear, so we've got a lot of odd shapes going on, but again, that's kind of what I wanted, so randomness and things not quite lining up adds to the effect, in my opinion. I apologize in advance for the YouTube compression because I know this has got to be messing with your eyes watching it on YouTube. Just lots of shadows and highlights and moving back and forth going on. That is a mess, but you know what? I kind of like it. Okay, let's just try one thing. Let's try starting from a corner. Alright guys, well that was a minor nightmare. I went ahead and forwarded time once again because I had to climb up top and look at it from above. But we've got a pretty good rooftop system going on here. Do have one section right here that's got a stud in the door. But if the door opens out, we can work with that. I'll show you guys what it looks like from above. Got some sections on the corner here with some support posts, just some flat rooftop pieces. And I've gone through and made sure that most of our upper section is covered by the warehouse glass. And we've got one bit right there in the corner that I've got to fix. And I've tried to avoid using too many of the broken glass pieces because, again, this is supposed to be pretty accomplished engineering. There we go. So yeah, there would be some glass that would get broken once it was installed, but this is supposed to be living quarters as well. Okay. Whew. Let's just go ahead and put some doors in, detail a bit, and we're going to call it for today because, again, that's been a wild amount of building. I've spent quite a few hours working on this now, and I'll have to trim this video down a whole bunch so that it's not just hours upon hours of footage. I'm going to do a quick save, and we'll go ahead and start some decorating. I'm going to start by going over to Homemaker for their doors because I want to find that, I think it's the Sanctuary House door. It looks a little too new, to be fair, but the animation is what I really want. It's like a sliding door scenario. And then, while we're up here, what else do we have? No need to worry about outside door security up this high, that's for sure. And I think we don't have to worry about having super secure individual room doors either because we're so high up. If you've gotten this far, you've earned it. So we'll use some nice wooden door frames. Again, that one's going to have to open out because of that stud. And that one's going to have a slight crack in it. These are smaller apartments, but hard to beat that view through that dim apocalyptic glass. Yeah, it's going to be hard to get into that bathroom to detail it, so what we'll do is we'll detail some of the stuff out here. I'm going to use some of the nicer creative clutter furniture. Seeing this is supposed to be the top lounge. I think that door's got enough room to clear. Kind of an awkward spot for a lounge, though, to be honest, guys. Right outside the bathroom, but when space is limited, you work with what you can. Do we have any end tables? It's a nice looking cabinet. Put that one right there. Looking for that slightly fancy end table. There might not be one here, but we do have this side table I can put back there for storage. Yeah, I'll put the fancier end table right there manually. How many fancy beds do we actually have here? Got this vault style one. These rooms aren't as big as they looked at first here, guys. Just swing the door in this way. vault. Nice bedside table. That's a nice decoration that could fit in this little alcove right here. Got to make use of that available space. The vault wet bar. Hopefully no one has to get into that bottom drawer anytime soon. I almost want to see if we have any smaller beds for this room. That's a little smaller. Very, very tight quarters here. Didn't I say I was just going to detail one of these rooms? You guys know how that goes. I just do like how this cabinet right here looks in that corner. And seeing that that door can't open, we can put something, well, it can't open in. We can put something into this corner if we can find one that fits. It's a full-size desk, knick-knack, shelf. That's way too big. It's way too small. What's a good fit for this corner? Yeah, we'll just do another side table like that. Oh, I'm grabbing onto those ceiling beams there. In fact, this is the near perfect end table size for just about everything, given our very, very limited space to work with. Weapon umbrella stand there. We'll give this guy a full bookshelf in here. Again, this is probably the Abernathy's suite up top, but they've all got their individual rooms now. And I wonder if we can get some very, very small chair in the back there. Yeah, we can. So I'll put a chair like that. I love these creative clutter chairs. They look awesome. And a little reading nook chair right there. Alright, gang, we've got to call it here. So, let me just put down that fancy table that I was talking about. Know just about exactly where it is. Should leave plenty of room for the door to open. And I'm just realizing that that window is not in place. That won't do. Windows. And where's that window frame? There we go. Mostly sealed up from the outside now. And I'll have some decorations on that, of course, but yeah, we are way out of time here, guys, so let's just do a quick save here, and then I'm gonna zoom out in the free cam so you guys can see where we're ending up for today. That is what we've created. I'll go down below so you can see. It has a really cool tiered look to it, with the construction getting a little less scrappy, a little less rusty the further you go up, until you hit that premium upper level. Still scrappy, but made with some more carefully measured parts. As you guys know, a big part of my lore of where all these construction pieces, these prefabs come from, is going to be at the Thicket Excavations prison. There'll be some info during that full tour, once that build is finished, about where the Minutemen are getting so many of these prefab pieces from. I think it's a fun way to answer that question in a inside the lore way. That's going to do it though, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys on the next part of this build. And stay tuned for news as I start winding down operations and construction on that Thicket Excavations prison, as well as Joel's bathhouse as well. A lot of building going on right now, a lot of projects to finish, but it's fun to build some with you guys in the meantime. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.